In this video we are going to look at panic attack treatment without medication. Panic attacks can creep on an individual when they least expect it, whether the person has a diagnosed mental illness or not. Today, we'll talk you through some things you can do to ease your attacks without needing medication. So, what are panic attacks? Panic attacks are a result of an anxiety disorder, which is a common form of mental illness. Whilst having a panic attack, you might suddenly feel dizzy, and have difficulty breathing, have chest pain and a fast heartbeat, despite no definite reason at all. This might seem scary and nerve-wracking at first, constantly feeling afraid all of a sudden, but you can gain back control and practice habits to reduce the sudden fear. The Anxiety Freedom Manual by Stephen Britton tells us all we need to know about anxiety and panic attacks, to help us live a comfortable life without terror. Information about this will be at the end of the video. Anxiety, like other illnesses, have different types too. These would include the generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, panic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, and social anxiety disorder. No matter which one of the five you might have, no type is inferior than the others. However, anxiety in general can be tricky depending on how intense the illness is. It can be difficult to calm yourself down, especially when you're alone. So, what could trigger this anxiety? It is caused by the anxiety triggers in your mind called the panic spiral. Sometimes it can be so intense that seeing a specific object or color can already trigger your brain. It could be the mounting list of to-dos in your table, or the 4 to 5 exams coming up. If your heart is already racing just by reading this, some of the stated reasons could be one of your triggers. You don't feel that way just because you want it to, of course. The panic spiral is the logical part of your brain that reasons with your thoughts, your senses of what could be, and maybe even cause physical pain to your body. Panic attacks can be unexpected, especially when we have no control of the environment we're in, so you should come intellectually prepared in case one of your mall trips do go wrong. As basic as it may sound, deep breathing exercises and mindfulness is a medically proven way to relieve anxiety and stress. Mindfulness keeps your mind from wandering to your triggers, while deep breathing will override the response that signals your fright, flight or fight response that causes your heart to beat so much faster. To gain the most benefit from this practice, remember to bring your awareness on your breathing slow, deep, and steady, making your stomach rise. Repeat these controlled breathing techniques to ease your nerves. Although deep breathing serves its place in panic attack first aids, we must also take precautionary measures to avoid your triggers. Take control of your environment and learn when to say no, and when to force yourself to complete your tasks to avoid the feeling of anxiousness. Anxiety can also be linked to the feeling of pressure, so be sure to take some time off your work and activities, and save time for yourself. Whether by spending the day spoiling yourself, or bonding with your pets and family, or doing your hobby is already helpful for your health. But, even if we do implement these tips for ourselves, it might be difficult to calm others undergoing a panic attack with these steps. It might seem scary at first, but remember that it is a normal occurrence for a person suffering from anxiety, and they should not feel alone. Reassure the individual and don't panic. Remember, it is difficult for them to explain what triggered the panic attack. Stay with them, encourage them to implement the deep breathing technique, and speak to the individual in a positive manner and never get angry. Phrases like, "I am proud of you," and "you can get through this," will help. Just like the types of anxiety disorders we mentioned, it can be different for everyone, and some might develop the feeling of disconnection from reality or flashbacks during their panic attacks. Here you can try to use the grounding techniques, which helps the individual recover from the sense of dissociation by encouraging them to use their senses. Encourage the person having a panic attack to listen to your voice or the sounds around them. You can even hold or rub their hand to snap them back to a calmer sense of being. Letting them smell a soothing scent can also help the individual to calm down. While those tips will help you deal with the panic attacks, we must also acknowledge that panic attacks aren't the root of all this. Overcoming anxiety is the only way to live a life without the constant fear of panic attacks, and although it is hard, living with anxiety is worse. Panic attacks are irritating and troublesome and can inhibit our everyday life. So whether you're going through it, or your friend is, know that you are never alone and never be afraid to ask for help. Stay connected and we'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to check out the link in the description to find out how you can be free of anxiety permanently.